Hello Patrick, we've got the transmission out of your Ranger. I'll go over a couple of things with you, and Amanda will contact you with the cost estimates. So the real problem was the bearing that goes between the output shaft. So this shaft here is going to be your output shaft. This is your input shaft. There's supposed to be a bearing in here. You can see how the needles are all welded together. So that pocket bearing is damaged. This should be able to be spun at all times, and what's happened is these two shafts got stuck together, and that's why we weren't able to drive properly. And the munching was this bearing here piling up. So the input shaft needs to be replaced. The output shaft, you can see the damage from the bearing. That should be a nice smooth surface like this, and it's obviously all galled up because of the bearing that's failed. So both shafts have to be replaced. You can see how this gear has been discolored from the heat. Here's a gear what it should look like, and again this one's been discolored. The counter shaft, the gear that goes against this input shaft, same thing. You can see how dark that gear is, and then you can see what the other gear looks like. So the reality is this gear is going way too hot. Another thing we found, this is a good looking shift fork. You can see this surface where my thumb is uniform. And if we look at the shift forks in the shift tower, you can see this ridge right where my fingernail is. That ridge is not supposed to be there. So the fork is worn on both sides. So you can see that ridge there again where my thumbnail is. And the same thing on this other fork. This surface here is supposed to be the same width. So same thing, we have a step there that actually is not supposed to be there. So that wear requires both of these shift forks to be replaced. And when we look at the input seal, this is not wet. So when we look at the replaced slave cylinder, there's some fluid down here. This is at the 6 o'clock position. It sits inside the transmission like that. So we have some fluid there that we're concerned that the fluid may actually be a leak from the cylinder. The cylinder's inside the bell housing, so it actually sits inside here, and in order to change it, you'd have to pull the transmission again. So we'd be recommending replacing that for that reason. The other thing we noticed is the line from the truck that goes into here was missing a white sleeve that's used to actually pop this piece out. So because that was missing, there was nothing to push up against these tabs down in here. So we had a real difficult time getting the thing disengaged. So we had to have a tool that we used to put in there, and this one we just had a bear of a time getting that done. So again, we would recommend replacement of this. The clutch itself looks to be in good shape. The vent grooves we see all look to be fine. The transmission also, you have a bearing. This other bearing here is situated in this location, so it's between the slider and that gear. So same thing, all the lube related problem there that's wrecked that bearing as well. So as I said, Eric or Amanda will contact you with the cost estimates. Thanks.